The gavel bangs 3 times. Order in the People's Court of Public Opinion. Case number KPJT 2025. The United States versus Perry Trudeau romance rumors. Prosecution says it's a 5-alarm distraction. Defense says it's just 2 people eating sushi. Keep it classy, keep it lively. Prosecutor Crockett, your opening. Jasmine Crockett stands, smooths her blazer, and smiles at the jury like she's about to drop the best read of the year without raising her voice once. Thank you, Your Honor. Look, I'm not here to play Cupid's prosecutor. Love is beautiful. Sushi is delicious. But when half the timeline is screaming Katie and Justin sitting in a tree while the other half of us are trying to keep democracy from falling out that same tree, we have a problem. Those Tokyo photos didn't just go viral, they went nuclear. And every heart tie emoji is one less person reading about the fights we're having in committee rooms at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'll prove this romance, sweet as it is the glitter balm we didn't need right now. Orlando Bloom rises, relaxed, hands in pockets, that half smirk that once sold 1 billion movie tickets. Your Honor, Jasmine, respect always. But joy is not the enemy of justice. It's the battery pack. Katy Perry has registered more young voters than most super PACs. Justin Trudeau legalized cannabis and marched in pride when some folks wouldn't even spell the word. 2 kind humans finding light after dark years? That's oxygen, not smoke. We'll show this little romance recharges the revolution instead of stalling it. The judge nods. Prosecution, call your first witness. The people call Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. AOC strides in like the room was waiting on her. She takes the oath, fist bumps Crockett on the way to the stand. Sis, you know I'm ride or die. Let's do this. Ioc, walk us through the day those photos dropped. What happened to the news cycle? Gone. Poof. 1 minute we're trending defend the vote, next minute it's Canadian PM plus California girls equals true love. Look, I'm happy for them. Truly. But algorithms don't care about reproductive justice or the child tax credit. They care about Sparkle, and Sparkle was winning that day. So you're saying a celebrity romance can unintentionally drown out urgent political work? 1000%. But here's the friendly remix. Katie has power. If she takes this glow and turns it into a voter mobilization tour, I'm buying front row tickets. Right now, though, it's loud, it's shiny, and it's eating all the oxygen. Orlando leans forward, gentle cross. Congresswoman, didn't Katie headline a concert that registered 50,000 new voters in 2020? Isn't joy part of the long game? AOC laughs. She did, and I was screaming every lyric. Joy is fuel. I'm just saying the tank was already running on fumes and somebody poured edible glitter in it instead of premium. The judge smiles. Thank you, Congresswoman. Next. The people call Justin Trudeau. Trudeau walks in, gives a small wave like he's sorry for the inconvenience, takes the stand. Congresswoman Crockett, huge respect for the work you do. Fire away. Appreciate that, Justin. Those photos were adorable, no shade. But you've spent a decade on the world stage talking climate, reconciliation, equality. When you post couple goals the same week Congress is fighting to save voting rights, does that help us or hurt us? Honest answer, I didn't overthink the post. It was a happy moment after a long trip. But you're right, leaders don't really get an off switch. If it pulled focus, I own that. The other side of the coin is people saw a politician being human. Maybe that makes the hard conversations easier to have later. Katie and I have already talked about doing a cross-border voter push. Turn the headline into horsepower. I would love that push, believe me. But until the concert is booked, the headline is still Trudeau's new girlfriend while my colleagues are trying to roll back the Voting Rights Act. How do we close the gap between cute photo and concrete action? Give us 10 days. You'll see something real. Promise. Orlando stands for cross, easy smile. Mr. Trudeau, isn't it true this romance has already started conversations about work-life balance for public servants? Isn't that a win for everyone burning out in the fight? Trudeau chuckles. If a sushi date reminds people we're human, then maybe we stay in the fight longer. I'll take it. The judge waves him off. Thank you, sir. Prosecution, next witness. The people call Katy Perry. Katy enters in a candy pink power suit, hair in a high ponytail that defies gravity. She blows a kiss to the jury, takes the stand. Hi y'all. Jasmine, I've been in your comments hyping you up. Let's talk. Katie, you dropped 10 photos that got 300 million likes in 24 hours. Were you aware of the timing, with everything happening in US politics right now? I was aware things are heavy, always. But I also just turned 40, got my heart cracked open and put back together, and for one night I wanted to feel normal. I didn't think let me ruin democracy with a California roll. The courtroom laughs, warm. Fair, Crockett says, smiling. But 300 million likes is a megaphone most movements would kill for. When you have that power and you use it on couple goals instead of, say, a get out the vote reminder, does that sit right with you? Katie nods, serious now. It sits heavy. And you're right. I've already talked to my team. We're announcing a swing state tour next week, free tickets if you show voter registration. Every city, Jasmine gets 10 minutes on my stage to talk about whatever bill she's fighting for that day. Deal? Crockett's eyes light up. Deal, but we're co-headlining Atlanta. Done. Bring the squad. Orlando stands, mockbows. MS. Perry, any chance I get a +1 to the tour? Katie grins. Only if you promise not to surf the crowd, Legolas. Laughter ripples through the room. The judge bangs the gavel lightly. Closing arguments. Prosecution first. Crockett steps center. I started this case saying love was stealing oxygen. I'm ending it saying maybe love just handed us a bigger tank. Katie, Justin, turn those likes into ballots, and I'll be the first one dancing in the audience. Case dismissed with love. Orlando shrugs, smiling. Defense rests happily. The judge leans forward. After hearing the evidence, this court finds the defendants not guilty of derailing democracy. Instead, we order them to convert every heart emoji into one new registered voter by November. Court is adjourned. And Katie, save me a ticket. Gavel bangs. The courtroom erupts in applause, glitter cannons pop, and Crockett and Katie hug it out center stage while Trudeau takes selfies with the jury. Fade out on everyone singing the bridge of firework together. The gavel falls 3 times, crisp and final. Order in the People's Court of Public Opinion. Case number KPJT 2025. The United States of America versus Perry Trudeau romance rumors. Prosecution alleges felony-level distraction from the ongoing struggle for voting rights, reproductive freedom, and basic democratic oxygen. Defense claims misdemeanor happiness at worst. We will keep this civil, we will keep this honest, and we will keep the receipts on. Prosecutor Crockett, your opening statement. Jasmine Crockett rises slowly, the way only someone who has read entire appropriations bills at 3 a.m. can rise, calm, radiant, and slightly dangerous. Your Honor, members of the jury, good people doom scrolling at home. I did not come here to hate on love. I came here to clock in for overtime. While some of us are in windowless rooms arguing over whether grandmothers in Georgia should stand in line 8 hours to vote, Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau decided the world needed 10 slides of them feeding each other salmon roe under cherry blossoms. Coot? Undeniably. Necessary? That is the question before us today. 347 million likes in 48 hours. That is more people than voted in the last American election. Every heart emoji was a pair of eyes that did not read the new voter suppression laws moving through state legislatures. Every period comment was a brain cell not thinking about the child tax credit expansion that just expired. I am not mad at the romance. I am exhausted by the timing. I will prove that this sushi summit, however sweet, functioned like a glitter bomb in the middle of a fire drill. She sits. The room exhales. Orlando Bloom stands, hands clasped like he's about to accept an Oscar for Best Chill. Your Honor, Jasmine. Always a pleasure even when you're coming for my ex's timeline. Look, the world is heavy. Democracy is on the ropes. We know this. But joy is not the opponent of justice. It is the rest stop on the marathon. Katy Perry once turned a Las Vegas residency into a voter registration machine. Justin Trudeau legalized weed and apologized to entire nations while wearing colorful socks. 2 people who have spent decades trying to make the world softer found softness in each other. That is not a crime. That is a public service announcement that hope still exists. We will show you that this romance is less distraction and more defibrillator for a movement that was starting to flatline on rage alone. The judge lifts an eyebrow the way only a woman who has interviewed every living human can. Prosecution, first witness. The people call Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to the stand. AOC walks in wearing emerald suiting sharp enough to cut glass. She takes the oath with one hand, phone in the other, already texting the group chat. What's good, Jas? Let's work. Ayok, you and I were literally on a Zoom about insulin prices when the first Tokyo photo dropped. Walk the jury through what happened next. Chaos. Beautiful, chaotic chaos. My mentions went from how do we cap copays to is that a promise ring. We lost the narrative in 60 seconds flat. Cable news cut away from a segment on maternal mortality to debate whether Katie's dress was Dior or vintage Versace. Again, I love them both. I have Teenage Dream on my gym playlist, unironically, but the algorithm does not care about my feelings. It cares about dopamine, and dopamine was wearing a pastel kimono that day. So in your expert opinion, can a single celebrity photo carousel drown out an entire week of progressive messaging? It already did. We had a viral thread ready to go on the Build Back Better framework. It got 400 retweets. The sushi pic got 400 million impressions. Math is math. Orlando leans forward, gentle. Congresswoman, reminder, Katie's 2020 voter drive registered over 50,000 people in one weekend. Isn't joy a proven organizing tool? AOC smiles, not giving an inch. Joy is rocket fuel, Orlando. But somebody still has to aim the rocket. Right now the rocket is doing barrel rolls over the Pacific, while rural broadband is still stuck in 2012. The courtroom laughs. The judge lets it ride. Next witness, the judge says. The people call former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Trudeau enters in navy, sleeves rolled, looking like he just finished teaching yoga to diplomats. He nods at Crockett with genuine warmth. Congresswoman, I've quoted you in caucus meetings. Ask me anything. Appreciate you, Justin. Those photos were adorable. My group chat lost its mind in the best way. But you have spent years building a brand around progressive leadership, climate action, feminist foreign policy. When you post couple goals the same week the U.S. Congress is fighting over whether to count ballots mailed on election day, does that help the cause or hurt it? Trudeau exhales, thoughtful. Honest answer? I posted from the heart, not the briefing book. I'd just come off a week of trade talks that aged me another decade. Katie made me laugh until I forgot the briefing book existed. That said, you're right. Leaders don't get to clock out. If the joy overshadowed the fight, I regret the timing, not the feeling. But here's the part I hope you'll hear. People messaged me saying, if you can still fall in love after everything, maybe we can still fight for everything. Maybe humanizing politics is part of politicizing humanity. Crockett softens, just a fraction. I feel that. But until the still fight part trends higher than the heart eyes emoji, we're losing the week. How do we close that gap? By doing exactly what you do every day, calling it out, then converting it. Katie and I have a plan. Announcement drops Monday. You'll like it. I'm holding you to that, sir. Orlando stands for cross. Mr. Trudeau, has this relationship already sparked global conversations about mental health and work-life balance for public servants? It has. My own staff told me they felt permission to take a damn weekend for the first time in years. If that keeps good people in public service longer, I'll post 100 more sushi pics. The judge waves him off with a smile. Thank you, Mr. Trudeau. Next. The people call Catherine Elizabeth Hudson, professionally known as Katy Perry. Katie walks in wearing a bubblegum pink power suit and heels that could double as weapons. She blows a kiss to the jury, takes the stand like it's the Super Bowl halftime stage. Hi angels. Jasmine, I've been hyping you in my comments since you read those people into the Stone Age on the house floor. Let's have a kiki. Katie, 347 million likes. That's more people than live in the United States. Were you aware of the political climate when you hit post? I was aware the political climate is a dumpster fire 24/7. I was also aware that for one night in Tokyo I felt 40 going on 25 and stupidly happy. I didn't think let me sabotage democracy with a spicy tuna roll. The room laughs, warm and loud. Fair, Crockett says, grinning despite herself. But that megaphone you have. Most organizers would saw off an arm for 1/10 of it. When you aim it at couple goals instead of, say, a reminder that Georgia's new voting laws close polls at 5 p.m. in black neighborhoods, how does that sit with you today? Katie's eyes go serious. It sits heavy. And you're right. I've already called my team, called Justin's team, called Lizzo for backup vocals. Next week we announce the One of the Girls, One of the Votes tour. 7 swing states. Free entry if you show proof of registration or pre-registration. 10 minutes every night for Congresswoman Crockett, or whoever she taps, to talk about whatever bill is on life support that week. Live streamed, captions in English and Spanish, ASL interpreters on the Jumbotron. If I accidentally broke the algorithm, let me intentionally fix it. Crockett's whole face lights up. Atlanta is the finale and we're co-headlining. Done. Bring the full squad. I want AOC doing the tax the rich dress walk on my stage. Orlando stands, mock bows. MS. Perry, any chance your ex gets a +1? Only if you promise not to surf the crowd, Orlando Bloom. More laughter. Someone in the back yells Stream Legolas by Katie. The judge bangs the gavel lightly. Prosecution, any more witnesses? Just one more, Your Honor. The people call Taylor Swift. Video deposition. The screen lights up. Taylor appears, from what looks like a secret bunker lined with Grammy Awards. Hi Jess. Hi Katie. Hi jury. Short and sweet. I have spent years watching my own love life be weaponized to drown out voter registration drives. Katie, you have the biggest heart in the game. Use it. Announced the tour, tag me, I'll match every registration dollar for dollar up to 10 million. Let's make the heartbreak songs fun, the comeback story. Love you all. The courtroom loses it. Even the bailiff is crying. The judge clears her throat. Anything further, Counselor Crockett? No further witnesses, Your Honor. At this time the prosecution moves to dismiss all charges with prejudice, provided the defense fulfills the voter tour promise in writing within 14 days. Orlando stands. Defense has no objection. We'll have the contracts couriered by morning, notarized in glitter ink. The judge leans forward, eyes twinkling. Then by the power vested in me by daytime television and the court of public opinion, I find the defendants not guilty of derailing democracy. In fact, I find them guilty of upgrading it. The romance is acquitted. The tour is court-ordered. Every heart emoji must now be converted into one new registered voter by November 2026, where I will personally haunt your group chats. Case dismissed. And Katie, front row ticket for me and Gail. We like to dance. Gavel bands? Glitter cannons explode. Crockett and Katie hug center stage like they just won the Super Bowl. Trudeau joins, lifting both women off the ground. AOC jumps in. Someone starts the a cappella intro to Firework. By the time the first chorus hits, the entire courtroom, jury included, is singing at the top of their lungs while confetti falls like democratic snow. Fade out on Crockett whispering to Katie, next time, warn a sister before you break the internet. Katie whispers back, next time, I'm bringing you to Tokyo. They laugh. The screen fades to black with white text. Tour dates drop Monday. Register to vote. Baby, you're a firework. The applause hasn't even died down when the side door opens again and the bailiff's voice booms over the singing. By request of the court, recall witness, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for rebuttal lightning round. Crockett is still half-hugging Katie, glitter in her braids, but she spins back to the prosecution table like she was born for encores. I'm ready, Your Honor. Let's run it. The judge grins. The court has decided 20 minutes is cruel and unusual punishment for this level of talent in one room. We're going long form. Counselors, you now have unlimited time. Lightning round rules. Every question must begin with the phrase, but what about, and every answer must include at least one actionable policy idea. Begin. Crockett cracks her knuckles. But what about the fact that black women in Georgia still had to vote in 102-degree heat last cycle, because polling locations got cut by 30%? How does a Tokyo photo fix that tomorrow morning? Katie doesn't miss a beat. But what about the fact that the tour buses are already being wrapped in voting rights artwork by local Atlanta artists, paid triple union rate, and every single bus has a mobile DMV unit parked next to it so people can get ID while they wait in the merch line. We open in Atlanta, July 4th weekend. I'm calling it Independence Day for real. Trudeau jumps in from the witness box, still standing. But what about rural broadband? Half the counties you're talking about can't even stream the concert if they wanted to. AOC, who never actually left the courtroom, yells from the gallery, I'm on it. We just attached an amendment to the infrastructure package that prioritizes fiber to every venue on the tour route. If Katie's playing there, high-speed internet has to get there first. We call it the Wide Awake Wiring Act. Orlando, now fully invested, leans on the defense table. But what about childcare? Parents can't come to a concert if they can't find sitters. Katie nods hard. But what about the fact that every single show is all ages, doors at 3 p.m. and we're partnering with Care.com to give every ticket holder 4 hours of free vetted childcare within 10 miles of the arena, plus on-site daycare with union nannies making $35 an hour plus overtime. Crockett raises an eyebrow, impressed but not done. But what about formerly incarcerated citizens who still can't vote in 12 states? Trudeau again. But what about the fact that Canada just fully restored voting rights to every citizen regardless of record? And I've already talked to Governor Newsom and Governor Whitmer about a friendly competition. Whichever state restores rights fastest gets the surprise second night show in their capital. Winner announced live on stage. The courtroom oohs like it's the NBA Finals. Crockett paces, thinking. But what about language access? Half my district speaks Spanish at home, and the voter guides still look like they were translated by a middle schooler on Duolingo. Katie snaps her fingers. Lights dim. A giant screen behind her lights up with the tour logo in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Arabic, Haitian Creole, and Tagalog. But what about the fact that every single ballot measure, every single candidate forum, every single voter guide for the counties we visit will be translated by native speakers, printed on the back of the tour posters, and handed out free with every light-up wristband? We already hired 400 translators. They start work tomorrow. The gallery erupts again. AOC stands on her chair. But what about student debt? Gen Z is drowning and they're the ones we need at the polls. Taylor Swift's video feed pops back up unannounced. But what about the fact that every person who registers 25 new voters at the tour gets $2,500 knocked off their federal loans, up to $10,000 total? I'm personally funding the first million. Katie's matching the second. We call it the Karma is My Boyfriend. Karma is a loan forgiveness program. Crockett is smiling so wide her cheeks hurt. But what about dark money in elections? The same week y'all were in Tokyo, the Supreme Court took another wrecking ball to disclosure laws. Trudeau steps down from the stand entirely, walks to center court. But what about the fact that every corporate sponsor who wants logo placement on this tour has to disclose every political dollar they spent in the last 10 years, live, on the Jumbotron, before my socks even hit the stage? Refuse and you're out. We already turned down 3 oil companies and 1 private prison conglomerate. They're competitors who play nice get the slots. Transparency or bust. The judge is taking notes like she's live tweeting. Crockett turns to the jury. But what about the people who say politics and pop culture should never mix? Katie laughs loud and free. But what about the fact that the last time politics and pop culture stayed in separate lanes, half the country thought voting was reality TV and elected the host? We tried that. Didn't work. New plan. We flood the zone with so much joy, community, and free childcare that showing up feels like the best party of the year, because it literally will be. Orlando raises a hand. But what about security? These venues are gonna be packed with first-time voters who have never been in spaces that big. Katie nods to the wings. Secret Service agents, local police, and Pinkerton-level private security file in, all wearing tour passes. But what about the fact that every single officer working the show has to attend a 4-hour de-escalation and bias training run by Campaign Zero, paid for by the tour, not taxpayer dollars, and every arena has a Know Your Rights booth bigger than the beer stand? Crockett is almost out of but what abouts. Almost. But what about the morning after the tour ends? The confetti gets swept up, the buses leave, and the same legislatures are still trying to make it harder to vote. Katie steps forward, voice softer now. But what about the fact that every single person who comes to the show gets a QR code on their wristband that auto-subscribes them to text alerts from you, Jasmine, from AOC, from the state parties, from the ACLU, from when we all vote, for the next 10 years. Opt out anytime, but default is on. We're not doing a tour. We're building a permanent rapid response army that dances. Silence. Then thunderous applause. The judge stands. I have heard enough. New court order. The Perry-Trudeau romance is hereby declared a net positive for American democracy. All charges dropped. In their place, I am issuing a permanent injunction against boring voter engagement. From this day forward, any get out the vote effort that does not include at least one of the following: glitter cannons, surprise celebrity guests, or free childcare is hereby declared unconstitutional in the court of public opinion. She bangs the gavel so hard it cracks. Furthermore, Congresswoman Crockett, you are sentenced to co-headline every remaining date of the tour. Wardrobe provided by Katy Perry Collection, budget unlimited. Mr. Trudeau, you are sentenced to dad dance in the front row at every Canadian stop and fundraise for down home north of the border. Ms. Perry, you are sentenced to never pay for another drink in Atlanta again. Ms. Swift, your donation is hereby tripled by order of this court because I said so. The courtroom is on its feet. Crockett walks over, pulls Katie into another hug that lasts a full 30 seconds. You know I still gotta roast you on the timeline for fun, right? Katie laughs into her shoulder. Roast me all you want, just promise when you read those Republicans into the next dimension, you'll do it wearing the firework cape I made you. Already packed. Trudeau joins the hug. AOC jumps in. Taylor's video feed somehow superimposes a group selfie. Orlando pretends to take a photo, but is actually live streaming to 200 million people. The lights dim. The opening chords of Firework start, but this time it's a remix, half the original, half a new verse Katie wrote last night. Crockett grabs a mic no one knew was there. Her verse. They tried to count us out, tried to close the door, tried to make us beg for the rights we had before. But we showed up sparkling, voter roll in hand, turned every arena into liberated land. You can try to dim us, but watch us ignite. One nation, one stage, one hell of a fight. The crowd roars so loud the rafters shake. Confetti falls for a solid 5 minutes. Someone wheels out a cake shaped like the Supreme Court building with the words, "We overturn bad precedents," in edible glitter. The camera pulls back as the entire room, jury, bailiff, even the court stenographer, forms one giant kickline. Final title card fades in over the celebration. This was not the end of the fight. This was the moment the fight learned how to dance. Tour dates drop Monday. Bring ID. Bring kids. Bring your auntie who still votes by mail. Bring your joy. We're saving spots for all of you. See you at the polls, baby. You're a firework.